Hi there, Duncan here, physiotherapist and owner of Life is Movement, here with another exercise video demonstration. I make these videos for my patients here at the clinic. However, if you're not a patient and you find any of this useful, you're of course welcome to take it and use it as you see fit. So I wanted to demonstrate the sort of next step in the sequence of spinal flexion exercises that we give people here at the clinic who normally have some sort of lower back issue. So if you've been given this exercise, you've likely already progressed through the pelvic tilt, the rocking exercise, the seated flexion, and now we are into a standing flexion progression. Unfortunately, this follows the same principles as the seated version. However, we're now sort of in the final end of this marathon and doing it really just a standing flexion. So if those of you who have done this, the seated version, will recall, the sequence is we first flex the cervical spine, so basically nod our head, and then we do a sort of, I always say, giving you some bad news, so you do a little slump, like you're a bit sad, which is also giving us flexion into the thoracic spine. So we're sort of working down the spine. And then with the knees soft, don't bend them too much, but they don't have to be completely locked out. We just think about those heavy, heavy fingertips. I put lead weights into your fingertips, and we do the exact same thing as we did in the seated version, but now we are in the standing position. My hamstrings are a little bit tight today, so I'm probably bending the knees a little bit more than is optimal, but that's okay. If I'm tight today, then that's what I will do today. If you want to then get a nice deep stretch in this fully flexed spinal position, you can take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, if the body wants to sink even lower, allow it, but don't force it. And then, of course, those same principles of coming back to standing. Don't just rip into the lower back. Think of the midfoot where the shoelaces would be on both feet. Push in with the feet to come up to standing. That is the standing flexion progression. Now, a tiny intermediary step, which I'm just going to demonstrate, which sometimes helps people, particularly if you've got like a really chronic back issue and a lot of pain sensitivities. Some people almost develop a psychological resistance to spinal flexion. There's an intermediary step you can do between seated and that full standing version, which is to stand but have one leg in front of the other. So instead of being completely sort of level feet like this, one's going to be in front of the other. So instead of, what this does, it puts a little bit more of the load into the leg, that front leg, and it just tends to make it psychologically less challenging. If you're someone who really struggles with this movement, if it's been a really long journey for you, we do have to tackle it, but of course we want to do so in a way that's safe. So, and appropriate for your emotional response to it, which is totally fine. So we do the exact same thing. Neck, forward shoulders, knee can be soft, don't bend it too much, but instead of coming straight down, we come down that one leg. And it tends to, deep breath if you want to extend the stretch, and out, and then come up by pressing into that front foot. So that, in terms of mobility, that is the final form of the exercise, that standing with the legs level. You can use that split stance as an intermediary if you like. Obviously, if you do the split stance, if you do one side, make sure you also do the other side. But that is the standing flexion progression endpoint for mobility. After this, and I'm going to make a video demonstrating this, after this we start to move into what we call the Jefferson deadlift, or the Jefferson curl, which is where we start to do that standing flexion pattern, but with a bit of load. And from there, you can take that and run with it as far as you need. So that is the standing flexion progression. Give it a go. I hope you find that useful.